Yeah, so we're testing out a countdown.
Yep.
Um, for all those who don't know me, which is pretty much anybody, I'm Jamal, and this is my boy G. Uh,
Hey.
so we want to start a podcast. We've been very lethargic. We can go into that, but this is our first thing, just doing something together. We're trying to get it off the ground. This
Yeah.
is a very talented brother over there. I have a small smidget of what he got, but I think we both have a passion and just like seeing what we can do if we just move forward with it. So, you got anything to say, Jay?
Yeah. Just wanted to do something. Tired of looking at everybody else doing stuff and thinking like, yeah, like I got something to say. We got something to say. So let's just say it. I think positive opinions matter. Most of the opinions out here are ultra negative or ultra aggressive. It's just like, okay, but I think that it's a good move for men to
Yes.
speak up, for Christian men to speak up, for that may have a differing opinion of things that are out there in the world, but to be able to discuss it and to bring more life into the conversation. So yeah.
And excuse me for being unprofessional. Like I said, we're just starting off, so I'm gonna be eating and drinking throughout. So
Hey,
don't mind me.
hey, it's all good. You got crackers. You got crackers.
At least they're Ritz. So,
Hmm.
but no, I know. Yeah, a few months ago we kept talking. We have friends that are in the space of just social media, and we kept talking and talking. We really hadn't done anything. I started off trying to do a podcast. I did probably a couple episodes, but then COVID hit, and I never got back into the flow. And I think it's easier, like you were saying earlier, like just having discussions because it's the format is very difficult when you're just staring at a screen.
Yeah.
Um, it's easier to have more of a dialogue when another person is on the
Yeah.
other side of the end of the conversation. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to and seeing how we can expand this because I know you have thoughts, I have thoughts, and they may differ from each other, but also the world. So it's
Yeah.
good to have different perspectives on a variety of things and just being able to respect another's opinion
Hmm.
and because it helps you form, I guess, a better perspective of certain things as well instead of being
Yes.
rigid and pigeonholed. So what's on your mind right now?
Man, on my mind right now is I think that now that like everybody's coming out of pandemic mode, like I've just noticed like the world's getting I feel like all the crime and everything we're just waiting to to start up. There's just been some real kind of crazy stuff going on. Just in the news. I mean, if it's not, you forget the coronavirus stuff, but then you end up with this monkeypox thing that I'm like, okay, whatever. And it's just like, what's the next thing? They were talking. I mean, it's like it's like it's almost like the world is like drunk on being like scared or on drunk on things that make them fearful,
Yeah.
you know? Um, we were all hyped up about this Ukraine war, and then gas prices got crazy because apparently because of the Ukraine war thing. And then gas went down. Now gas is going up, and inflation's like a thing, kind of, and then it's not. And I don't know. I think just trying to like exist in this and not like lose your head um, is important. And I think just like really trying to come back to like one instead of like being all over the place and being all fearful of like what could like happen or come or whatever. Um, but I don't know, man. I mean, there's like all kinds of stuff in the news going on going on right now. Um, I know that. Well, the thing that came to mind right before we started, I was saying, speaking of craziness,
Yeah,
there was an Amber Alert. Did you hear about that Amber Alert that happened in the area?
ain't going for my phone. I didn't see anything.
Dude, well, what was crazy is the Amber Alert was in Instagram, and it was the first time I had ever seen it. I mean, it had the picture of the kid and the description. It was this 15-year-old girl named Savannah that was like, it was like Amber Alert, and I didn't know the other part of it because I wasn't watching the news.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, the day before, and this was in Fontana, that's why we got it. But apparently, um, she was kidnapped by her dad, so to speak, kidnapped by her dad. But what he did the day before is he killed his wife.
What?
Yeah, he shot his wife, took his, and then the Amber Alert went out to find her. So apparently yesterday there was this big old police chase because someone called in the Amber Alert that they saw him up in the desert somewhere, and this police chase went across 3 counties. Man, and this is where it gets like crazy. The whole time they're chasing them, this fool's like shooting. Yeah, he's shooting the cops. Like, I'm like,
This was
what?
yesterday?
This was yesterday. He's shooting the cop, but all this stuff, man. And so then something happens where he shoots and they're able to, like, I mean, he disabled like 3 cop cars apparently. And then they shot into the car, and the car like went off the road, up off the 15 or whatever, up in Victorville almost.
Mm-hmm.
And car stops, passenger door opens up, person gets out of the car in full tactical gear and starts running toward the cops. Cops like light the person up. They go into this investigation and see what's going on. It turns out this fool put his daughter in tactical gear. 15 years old. They killed both of them. And
yeah, I'm seeing it right now.
Yeah,
Article
dude,
now.
it's
Hesperia.
crazy. Yeah, in Hesperia. That's what I mean. It's the craziest thing. I was like, my heart just, and they don't know. And this is the thing. I guess I mean, as of now, they don't know if if they're both shooting too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what is going on with the world? Like, I was just like mad because it's just like, that's so ridiculous that he like put her in that situation, and to have a father to be someone that takes care of it, that like loves and takes care of his kids. I mean, she's probably his host, or was at some point, and he goes out there and gets like crazy, So
wow.
Yeah.
All right. Pause. Can you hear me? Because it seemed like you were breaking up, and I transitioned into my phone. I'm like, I look at it.
Yeah, it's still. My copy.
You're like pixelated right now.
Yeah, you are too. Let me.
Great first show.
Right.
So I put it on my hotspot again. All right, now you're clearing up on my end.
I'm gonna make sure that I gotta make sure that the priority is on this. That's what I didn't do. But that's funny. Woo! Let's see here. Where's how do I do that? That would be, sorry, MacBook. Where is it? Right, what is this thing called? It's called, there it is. I'm gonna do it for the next hour. All right. Hopefully that won't break anything to up the connection. Yeah, it was showing the like Wi-Fi signal thing in the corner. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You look good too.
All right.
I don't know if it was my connection or not. I just changed back. So.
Oh, all good. I just set mine to prioritize this connection. So, but yeah, so it's just crazy, man. Because it's like I don't know what is going on with dads out here, but and I get the fact that, like, being a dad is like mad stressful.
Right.
I think something that's kind of like there's a lot that I think as a dad, like I don't like complain about or say that I'm not satisfied or happy about. Like there's a good friend of mine I was talking to, and he was like, I was like, how you doing? You know, and he's like, you know, I'm just tired of work, tired of everything, and tired of all these different things. And I was just like, well, what was when was the last time that you did something for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he just and he had mentioned something that was kind of more for the family than it was for himself. And he just very upset, you know, just kind of down in the dumps. And I just said, man, it's real important that you do something for yourself, and that you find something for you and your wife to do, and you always make room for that to happen. And you have to let your wife know when you're not feeling like things are like, I can say this. I know most husbands with families feel like there's a large level of unfair things that we experience.
Very true.
But we don't want to say it because we don't want to make everybody feel bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's like we gotta say that stuff, you know, because if we don't, we're gonna blow up. Something's gonna snap,
Yep.
you know, and I mean, I just told him, I said, look, bro, like, you know, be as transparent as you can, you know, talking to your wife, and take the time that you need to be okay. If that's just, you know, sitting to hang out or going and take a day and, you know, get your hair cut and just like chill, but you got to do something,
Yeah.
you know, something that my mom always says. She's like, she said, well, why don't you go and get a pedicure? She's like, I'm like, well, yeah, I don't mind getting pedicures, but she's like, no. She's like, go get a pedicure because you deserve it. And I was just like, okay. I never really, you know, thought about that, but just like doing that for yourself, like doing something for yourself can change everything. You know, it can really lift you out of a hopeless situation when you feel better about yourself. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think to your point, just about people snapping, I've, in my mind, I constantly think we don't know the full effect or impact of the lockdowns and the pandemic that it had on the social
Yeah.
functions of everybody. Some were all right because they tried as much as their normal activity as possible. Others not so much. And like when you brought up fear, because I reflect when I was working, so in my field, we have to supply kids with devices and stuff like that. So we were classified as essential workers, and so we never took a break. So we were constantly working. So despite what's blasted on the news as far as COVID and the impact, I don't think it impacted us as much because we were out in the midst of COVID, and we were working, and we were not consuming all the media like
Mm-hmm.
dump, and I just seen how people, the ones who came back like weeks later, and then even months later, you could see there was a higher level of fear in the people who came back to work basically at a later point in time because that's all they were consuming and
Yeah.
that's all they were believing in. You can find out basically even what news outlet they were watching just because they parroted basically what you would see on the news.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I just think that on top of the George Floyd, the riots, the protests, and then just it's just like this war for different tribes. I just think it just bubbled up to a point like I know even they mentioned January 6th, but that was all it was all part of other things that were allowed and whatnot. But I think because the one thing I just know you were initially just talking even about crime is that people are watching on the news and they realize ultimately it's more of us than them.
Mm.
So cop can only be so
Yeah.
many days because they had that fear in their mind, like if I
Yeah.
do this, I'm gonna get caught. But
Mm-hmm.
now they're like, that's why they have these like massive smash and grabs that go in 40, 70, 100 deep and just bum rush your place and run because they not. And we got masks on, COVID masks, so we already guarded and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and then so that's one aspect, but then the other aspect is those I was just marveling how those who were thriving, who had social media platforms, podcasts and whatnot, they were doing miraculously, like as a result of just having content and pushing it out because people were at home, and this
Yeah.
is all. So they got a huge following as a result. And so I
Yeah.
know we're like late in the game,
I
trying to
know,
kill some
man.
residue.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I think it's just the pandemic just had a lot of impact. But I know mentally, like it's a lot of people with everybody has mental health issues. But it's just some that they address it on a
Yeah.
regular basis and more and are acknowledging it at an earlier time rate than others who, like you say, it just allows the stuff to fester and bubble up, or
Yeah.
they're just not, because some people are not even into work right now. They're like, I know when some of the guys came back, one in particular who was in the hospital like 30 days or whatnot because he had the breathing problems and stuff as a result of COVID. Like
Yeah.
energy is just, he's like, it sounds like, people are like looking at it like, what is my purpose? Is my job just to wake up and go to work like, what was the Lego movie? Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
my standard task, and this is all I do each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
you come to a realization like life is more than this. So, so I know in my mind, I think it made me appreciate my family more, want to
Yeah.
spend more time with them. But I also know that there's a lot of hurting people because they lost people.
Yeah.
Some were done dirty. Some lost their job. Many lost their jobs, I'll say.
Mhm.
We've seen a lot of hypocrisy with the politicians. You say one thing, but then you live out another way. Like those standards apply to you all, you peasant folks, but not
Yeah.
so. I have my own issues with politicians, but it just a lot of it. It was just magnified during the pandemic, and But at the same point, it's just we're a society of followers, and people
Yeah.
follow these leaders tooth and nail, regardless of what they say and what they don't do. And
Yeah.
I'm just like amazed. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like, that's why it's time for something new.
yeah,
It's time
yeah,
for something new. I feel like there's a big shift happening, and all the people that have all this influence, what were we saying the other day, like that they don't have anybody to go to when they're having issues. But I think like this would be something positive, you know what I mean, to bring up and just like how to come out of this time, and like we all had an opportunity to reflect on our lives and reflect on our mistakes and reflect on we had 2 years, you know what I'm saying? And now that we are out of that, now it's like time, like, okay, well, what do I really want to do?
Correct.
What do I really want to do? What gives me life? What do I just think would be something cool, something to try? That's why on my like Instagram, I'm just like, you know what? I'm about to post these things. I'm about to do these reels. I'm about to be silly. And I know I do, like, yeah, I do music, and that is a big part of my life, but also comedy and whatever. And I don't like to say I'm a comedian, but by no stretch of the imagination am I. But I enjoy laughing, and I think not taking yourself too serious is a good value to have. Yeah, we got too many, like way too many people just taking themselves too seriously. My whole life, I had people giving me the side eye, because I was a little different. Like, yes. I mean, I'm like, I was like, what was crazy is I didn't even step into into the fullness of my, public weirdness, really, try to do anything with it until my senior year of high school, and I mean, I don't even think that you know this, but I was a cheerleader. One.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I was a cheerleader, but I was also a mascot. And I was the high school mascot.
I could see a mascot, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think the way that it worked back then, I think even now the mascot is part of a cheer squad. So, and the thing for me, I was the first male mascot in school history. So they had to they tried to pair me with another partner and this whole thing, and it was cool. We were able to team up and do things, but I loved being like, I was like, okay, this is, everyone gets to see how silly I am, and whatever. But and that was way before social media, and now it's like, man, I'm about to look. I spent so many years not doing this stuff, and people may think, and I may lose followers. But I'm like, whatever, man. Like, I'm gonna do this trend, and I'm gonna put my spin on it, and I'm gonna keep moving. Like, because I got kids I'm raising that need to see that I'm not this. I would like them to have more memories of me being happy, inviting them into my craziness and silliness, than some of the memories I have of my dad, where, and I love my dad was incredible, but there were definitely those moments where all the fun stopped when Dad came home. It was like we was turning up. It was like, Dad gonna be home in 30 minutes, huh? Okay, and just because he was working hard, because he needed peace and quiet, and it wasn't that he wasn't a fun person, but my point is, I want to always make those opportunities available, so that my kids have these memories, and because it's important to me that they can see they can't take themselves, so that they don't have to take themselves so serious all the time,
Yeah, because when I look at my dad, he was a workaholic, and it wasn't like something he desired to do. Like, when I'm now in this position, it's like he was trying to provide for the family. So we lived in Compton. He had to work late hours, and then when we moved to Moreno Valley, still working in Compton, making that commute 18 plus years, and I felt it just doing it 3 years, and I'm like, it was wearing me down, especially just after the pandemic. I'm like, I don't want to, like you mentioned, it's like I wanted to spend time with my family. I wanted to do things with my family. Unfortunately, like several months ago, opportunity came up at Colton. So I'm like a 30-minute commute now. And now I get to see my kids sometimes in the morning, but oftentimes I get to see them around 4:30-ish, 5, as opposed to it was like 7:30, and I'm tired. Like I was like you mentioned your pops. I'm tired. I give me my space, and it's already bedtime for them. So it's like you want to cherish, and you want your kids to experience, that jovial side, that funny side. I want my kids to like not feel
Mm-hmm.
like. I think you mentioned like being odd. I was the same way. I was odd, different, and I used
Mm-hmm.
to be a prankster. And people even see that at work now too. But it's like I have no shame, and I don't want them to feel like they have to conform to somebody's opinion of
Yeah.
what they should be, and just
Yep.
be themselves. Because I just ultimately feel like those who are conforming themselves based off opinion always have to live up to that opinion, and it's more difficult to be a fraud than be yourself. So
Yep. Like a mug. See, and that's yeah. I mean, I mean, bro, like from as far back as I can remember, I wanted to be a Muppet. Like I wanted to be I wanted to be a Muppet. Like like if I could be on Sesame Street, if I
I
could
what was it, Ralph? I can see you as Ralph playing the
Rolf, yeah, everybody. That's so funny. Everybody says that. Rolf, I'm Rolf, you know, but like I would study Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and Big Bird, and Grover, you know, and Sully, like not Sully, what the freak is his name? Snuffleupagus and like dude, all of them, Bert and Ernie, and I knew how to do all their voices. I knew, I mean, all the guys, all the girls, all the little kids, as I got older, that began to get a little weird or whatever, but it's just like, you know, you want, you know, there was something about that my dad felt uncomfortable with. He thought that I was just copying stuff. Someone just jumped in here. That was funny. There was like one person looking. I don't know where it's streaming at, but
to
but
the guys so we can get some fans.
yeah. So like but I had like um man, like my dad would like shut it down anytime I was doing voices, anytime I was copying. I mean, you know, he just was like, man, you're just being silly, you're just being annoying, and you're like stop, just stop, you know. I have to catch myself now, even with my son doing stuff. I'm like, let him do it, you know, let him, but reel it in a little bit, you know. But the thing is, I always wanted to be that. I always wanted to entertain. I always wanted to, you know, and the fact that I don't do that now, really, and I have the opportunity to, I'm trying to jump into that stuff. Like, I'm telling you, I was Muppet Babies. I like every episode of freaking Reading Rainbow, every episode of Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Like, I was there, bro. Like, I was like, what do I got to do to be? I mean, even to the point my mom sewed me a bootleg version of Kermit the Frog, and it was a puppet, and I and I legit what's it called? I mean, because I used to do the voice and everything, but I changed his name. His name was Edgar. Don't laugh. His name was, but like, dude, and it killed. I think when we moved, like, that was an opportunity for Dad to get rid of all the stuff. He was just like, you know, and I'm just like, no, like that was like that stuff to me.
Yeah.
But it's like I always want to. So I had to learn from that and say, man, I want my kids to like, you know, see that they can do that. You know, like my daughter, I'm telling, she's right. She's been writing a book for a couple of years now that they just finished, and then you know, she was working on a board game where we're trying to teach them how to make NFTs and stuff, and like, you know, but just thinking outside the box because they can be entrepreneurs. I was just telling my oldest, I'm like, there aren't any, you know, like her being a kid and being like good at doing her hair and stuff. I'm like, I might allow you to do like a Instagram thing like hair tutorials and keep it at that because you can get sponsored.
Yep.
People send you product quickly, and you just review it, but just trying to always inspire them, man, not be this hard-nosed, stressed out, tired, like,
Because that's one of the things I've been thinking about the last few months. Just when we get to the stage or age where we forget how we were when we're kids, and we put these unrealistic standards on our kids. Like weren't in those ages where we were creative and we were acting, having fun, and wanted to do certain things, and we apply that same rigid nature that our parents put on us. Because me,
Yeah.
I was a clown. I used to, like, if we had videos and stuff back in the days, they would have saw me doing. I was doing like jackass stunts constantly. People like wondering what's wrong with me because I'd be falling all over. I would fall like at my graduation. I'd be falling in random places, and people, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But it's like I'm like, I thought it was funny. My friends thought it was funny, but it's like things like that. And I remember even me and Bruce, I think it was after college, like we didn't have audio, so I think we had a compact Presario, and we're trying to make a album, and we're rapping to the mic in the monitor.
Yeah.
And we're finding like instrumentals of Biggie and other stuff just to write. We sounded horrible, but like it was fun. And now, and that's what, like, even now, I try to make videos with the kids, like rap videos or whatever, or just have them exposed. So I'm like, they have creative minds right now, and I want them to tap into it as early as possible.
Dude.
And stuff like kids, and I'm like, they constantly watch these kids opening toys or playing games. I'm like, let me just invest in your own cameras or whatever. You guys could be creative and do your own thing. There's not black kids out there doing what you're watching right now. Like this could be, even if it's not an itch, just you having fun. Because I ultimately believe they're like, what are they? 6, about to be 6 and 8. I'm like, that gives you a lot of time to be finding whatever you want to do in that area of time. So yeah, I feel like we do need to tap into that childlike side that we had back in the day and just have fun, because we shouldn't have bitter beer faces.
Yeah.
In life, sure. So you hit the spot with that one.
Yeah, because I'm just like, man, keep it light. We need to keep it light. I'm just like, it's the more that we can do that, the more that they can be inspired to just go, just run, like run, and don't be like, worried about it. I'm gonna share this link. Let's
see if you can share.
Yeah, if it'll let me. Yeah, let me. I'm gonna put it on my IG. Why not? I'll just let everybody know we doing podcast testing right now.
Yeah.
Why not?
Trial and error, folks. Bear with us.
Yeah.
We do got a viewer. Hello, single viewer.
Hello.
Let's do this.
You see here, I'm gonna put this in. People are like, what is going on?
Did it work?
I guess.
Oh, they're gone.
Let me see what it do. That's funny. Yeah, man, it's working. Let me do this. Let me get this. Jump in and watch us. Jump in and watch. That's all I'm saying. We live now. Let's see here live. Dude, why am I phone? I thought I was. Hold on a second. Am I whacking not following you, man? Because I'm like, I know what your thing is. Why is it not? Yep. Sorry. People are like, what are you guys doing? You know, we are here.
I'm putting up the banner. Hello, single viewer. I see that one.
Yep. Single viewer, what up? We lost our dude. Where is your? Is your?
Molly.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh yeah, duh. Molly voice. Yeah, it's there. Flipping me off.
I think they can write live. They can actually write live comments too. Cool. Wherever you are, you can write live comments to us as well.
Yeah.
It's probably a family member, so.
Yeah. I know. People probably like, what? Tuning in.
But one of the things I did like, or I noticed on your some of your IG posts was the topic of brokenness.
Yeah.
Because I was asked to speak at a conference, and it's IT, but my topic is from brokenness to breakthrough. So, and sharing all my stories and whatnot. So, what impressed on your heart just to, I guess, touch on brokenness? Those times,
man. Having gone through like some pretty craziness in the past 2 years. I mean, it's been rough, and realizing when you find yourself in a place where you don't think that you'd actually do something that you never thought that you'd ever do. Mm-hmm. Through therapy, you go back and you realize, like, how did I even get to that point?
Right.
Like what was it? It's like, oh, because you didn't realize that you were broken for years. Mm-hmm. And then me being a person who's like in ministry and whatever, like, you're just doing the work. You're just serving people. It's just because, well, people need to be served and people need to feel like, they need to, I don't know, they need to like feel like they need to be taken care of, but I don't need to be taken care of. That kind of thing. I can die to myself. And clear as day, like, God's like, you died to yourself the wrong way. Like, I didn't ask you. I'll never ask you to do anything that's to your detriment.
Correct.
So understanding that, realizing that you're broken is what we should be trying to work towards. Is being like, you know what, I am broken. I've always broken places, all these things. Because when you realize that you're broken, I said this in the reel, like, when you realize that you're broken, you operate differently. But when you're broken and you don't check your stuff, you function through your brokenness. Like, oh, I'm just getting it done. I'm just going to push through. I'm just going to do the thing, serve the people, do whatever, because it has to get done. But when you do that, you damage people. Mm-hmm. You forget people, you damage yourself, instead of being like, I actually have this brokenness.
Correct.
I actually have this brokenness, and God, I need you to work through me so that I can operate from the knowledge of my brokenness now. And then he will work through us. He'll work through you. Invite him to work through you instead of you working through you, because that ain't gonna work. Mm-hmm. And God doesn't want us to be this pristine, perfect, shiny ball. That is a lie. That's a lie from hell. That is an unrealistic expectation.
Correct.
But what God wants from us is, and what he desires for us, is to realize that we can come as we are in our brokenness, and then he brings the healing balm but he leaves the scars.
Correct.
And he leaves the scars for a reason.
Correct.
And he leaves the scars so that you can say, so that people can see, hey, look, I'm flawed, but God's working in me. And then so we can look at our scars and be like, man, I remember this. This is when God healed me here for this. And this is when God healed me here for this. And what those scars do is they create, and they give you texture. There's a word that a pastor gave me, one time. He said, I was telling him all the stuff I was going through, and he said, man, I'm getting, the word I keep hearing is texture. That now you have a texture that can grab more people, that can grip more people. Because you've walked through more things than most people, that a lot of people walk through, but they don't have anyone that they can relate to. And now you can relate to more people in your brokenness, more people with your scars, and you're familiar with that. So that's why I just think if we can all just realize, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna be perfect, but a perfect God wants to work in me, and a perfect God wants to heal me, then okay, come and fill in all these cracks, God. Come in and pour your ointment in this crusty, ashy skin and bring some healing so that people can come around and be like, man, I noticed that you ain't ashy. What you've been using to not be ashy no more, right? He's like, well, there's the healing balm of Jesus that came and changed this for me, and it didn't make me perfect. Mm-hmm. But it allowed me to function, and it allowed me to be on the road to healing, and it allowed me to be myself and say all my things now. Mm-hmm. Like understanding that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to function still being aware of your places. But that's when you allow God to move in that it changes everything. So, I mean, that's pretty much, and that's like pretty much been my whole journey in the past 2 years, so.
Yeah. And, because a lot of that resonated with me. And I think I realized how many broken people there are out there when I had the opportunity to speak like a 15-minute speech in front of like an audience of 1,000 plus. And then the reaction I got afterwards, with whether people crying or people sharing like that, resonated with me because I was sharing my story of being hurt, being broken, the pain, having family loss during the pandemic, just people up and leaving. And so like it resonated with them. And so like how I was earlier mentioned about sharing like the goofiness and stuff with my kids, I also want to share the pain because they go through to school, especially my daughter, Malia, she's very emotional sometimes. And some of the girls she interacts with are not nice. They'll maybe talk about how her hair is different and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And how like you don't have to beg, or if they're so-called friends and they treat you that way, that those are not friends at all. And I share my experiences of when I got teased or I got, and just sharing there's mean people out there, and like life is not going to be fair, and it's having that confidence about yourself to move on despite certain pain and difficulty. And like you were mentioning, just as far as just the multitude of pain and difficulty, just having that, and like, because that's part of the reason I named my son Joseph, because that story resonates with me so much. And there's always two verses I always think about: the Romans 8 one, where it's like God will work all things out for the good who loves them and are called according to his purpose. Other verse in Genesis 50, when Joseph's dad dies and the brothers are fearful and like, please don't kill us now because they assume like Jake, they were being protected because their father was still alive. And he was like, I think I have a verse here, but he says, "Do not fear, for am I in the place of God? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring about that many people should be kept alive as that they are today." And so, like, God used that brokenness.
Yep.
He used all those scars, like you mentioned, and
Yep.
it was for a purpose. And it was like when we go through suffering, when we go through brokenness, it's not merely for ourselves.
Mhm.
It's to tap into other people who are experiencing or about to experience some brokenness themselves and sharing
Mhm.
that hope that they can get out. And as I was reading this, I was thinking like I always think about like when he's saying he's gonna save a multitude of people. I'm always thinking in the context of his immediate family and the Israelite peoples, but I'm like, no, his pain and his brokenness is written down to minister to me to save my
Wow.
life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because because I don't know if I could have made it through if it wasn't his story to give me that hope and like there is purpose beyond this. There's a light behind this, and there's a savior who's saving us in spite of all the stuff that I'm going through. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of like and that's where I really want to share. I just know there's a lot I heard, like we were mentioning before, just the pandemic had positive impact on people, but it had a lot of negative impact on people. And like,
Yeah.
uh, and I think oftentimes the enemy gets us in a place where we think we're the only ones going through.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
That's the yeah.
and it takes one of us to like, okay, no, you're not the only one. I'm
Yeah.
going through just as well. I've been going through as well. You
Mhm.
need somebody to confide in. You need somebody to pray for. You need someone to share. Like you are not the only one. And so I just want to be in that area, like to say you are not alone. And
Yeah.
there's purpose in that brokenness, and
Yeah.
there's hope in that brokenness.
Yeah.
But sometimes some people like oftentimes I don't people become numb because they find some form of medication to
Yeah.
just numb that, and so they don't want
Mhm.
to address it.
Yeah. See, see, and that's the thing. I think we need to remember, man, we need to remember that the tactics of the enemy don't ever change.
Correct.
Like they just don't ever change.
Correct.
You know, he's always trying to separate, divide, isolate, and conquer. Like
Correct.
that's what he does. He'll give you his thoughts and make you think all these things that come out of nowhere that aren't your thoughts. And then you just feel like, well, I want to move over here off to the side because I'm the only one dealing with this.
Yep.
Because I'm the only one dealing with this, then I'll just deal with it on my own. And
Yep.
that's just a lie, man.
Yep.
Like it's such a lie. It's such a lie. I think that when we can expose, those things, when we can bring the light and be like, hey, look, you're not the only one going through this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not. You're not the only one with scars. You're not the only one with brokenness. I'll be the first one to tell you, just like you said, like, hey, it's this, And then I think another point of encouragement in that, and you mentioned Joseph, and I think I told you about this. There's a friend of mine named that I've got to do ministry with, Bob Sorge, and he talks about, and he just released a book on this. This is 2 years. This is 2 years, but like ago he started doing this, and he released a digital book on it, and it's called. He just talks about how God pushes you into this place. He pushes you into the place where he pushes you eventually gets you into your spirit.
Correct.
Where the trials that you'll go through, the hard things that you'll deal with will actually push you into this. And the name of his book, he goes, that whole time you thought that what you were in was a tomb, but it was actually a womb.
For birth.
I was like,
Wow. Wow.
I was like, and then he just goes through all the heroes in the Bible that they all went through their womb season, that God was birthing something through Joseph's life, that God was birthing something through David being on the run, through everything he faced growing up, being the forgotten son of, if we look at David's life, God was doing something with, gosh, why am I?
I'll say Job.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. He was doing something with
you
Job.
My servant Job.
Yeah. Right. Dude, he was, bro, he was doing something with Peter in those 3 days that felt like an eternity. That felt like he had completely given up. That God needed that level of submission and reverence from him in the right moment, of just like, okay, God, and Jesus asked him 3 times, because he denied him 3 times, but not in a sense of just like, oh, you did this. Correct. with the two fingers, no. No. But he was like, it was more so that he could show him, that he could reinforce his love for him, and just remind him, I mean, it's you're not going through it just for the sake of going through it. Correct. It's so that you come out different. Not to be the bringing out the butterfly reference, the caterpillar and the butterfly, but it's just what it is. You got to go through it to get out. I mean, I don't know the full story of this, but have you ever heard the story about how eagles fly and that whole deal?
Well, being dropped.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, yeah, I mean, it's crazy because the fact that it says that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, that they shall mount up on wings and soar, they shall run and not grow weary, they shall or walk and not grow weary, and run and never faint, whichever way it is. But that whole thing about the eagles is just like, eagles go all the way up and they drop their babies. They drop and it's right before they're usually about to hit the ground that they fly. And it's not out of malice or jealousy or anger. It's because
it's a purpose.
It's a purpose. And the mama eagle knows what they can be. And it's like, no, look at me. I'm what you can be, but you can be greater than me. But I gotta let you realize that you're a bird and you are not a turtle or something that's walking around the ground. You were meant to fly. You were always meant to fly. And so
yeah, I used something because I had to look at my speech recently because somebody asked about it and I watched it, and it was like my last points of the speech was about dealing with change, and it was just about how muscle is not grown unless it's stretched and torn. I think diamonds are coal doesn't become diamonds unless it's pressurized. Gold until it's burnt in the fire to be refined. And it was like those moments of brokenness actually are meant to be the catalyst for your purpose to become that butterfly, to become what God ultimately created you to be. And then you have this other mindset of people who don't think that way. They have that comfortability in being stuck in the womb or stuck in that cocoon because they don't constantly mention going through. They don't want to go through. They don't want to pick up their mat and leave. They like being the victim and sulking in that victim and having that pity party and wanting other people just to feel, I don't know, empathetic for them in that state. And it's like, and I'm sure all of us have had that point or that season when we were in that, but eventually we have to break out.
Yeah. It's time to man, It's time, bro. It's time. And it's time to wake people up to that, because the voice in the streets is like, well, just sit there.
Yep.
You know, just sit there. Like, we gotta move forward. We can't. There's too much potential. There's too much potential in like mankind. Like, that's just like, man, if we would just, gosh, if we would just like branch out, step up, like not be in this. Believe the lie, man. We keep believing the lie. That junk is trash. Like I ain't about it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, like just even being a black male. Oftentimes, we even allow the white person to tell us, "No, you're a victim. You need to realize you're a victim."
Woo!
And sense of enabling and power, like, and I'm here to save you, and to keep you in that state and keep feeding you in that state, so you don't grow, so you don't develop, so you don't realize the true power within you. And a lot of us are just naive to that fact. Like, yeah, I am a victim. Yeah. And it's constantly being brought up like, woe is me. I can't do this. I can't do this. Do you know about my history? Do you know? And that's where we have to like break that mindset, break that culture, break whatever that is, that it is ultimately a demonic force.
Yeah.
And the enemy is using it as a tool to put a shackle on us. Yeah. And we have to be realize that, and we have to awaken, or else we're going to stay in that state of slumber.
Yeah, well, and it's hard because we want people to see,
correct,
and know and remember what we've gone through, but you can't. And this is gonna get into some people's freaking stuff because they don't like. Because I know chocolate folk don't like this part of the conversation.
Yeah,
they just don't. They just don't, because they're like, no, we need reparations. We need them to see. We need, and it's like, yes, I'll take it. Please, please. I'll take it. But I can't always be living in the rear view of what's happened to me, what's happened to my people. Do I want people to realize that? Do I want some justice? Yeah, I want some justice.
Correct.
And we know that God, the foundations of everything that God, it says in scripture that God's throne is made up of justice.
Correct.
Like, so if God's throne is made up of justice, then it's written in our hearts to have justice and desire for justice.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a part of that through Christ, that mercy,
yes,
that the exchange of mercy is there. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, at what point, chocolate people, do we provide some mercy and grace in the understanding of the things that we've gone through? I think that it needs to be taught in a better way for people to know what we've gone through.
Yes.
Because man, it's freaking terrible. I had a friend that did they went on the like multi-ethnic like tour thing down in Mississippi recently, and the stuff that she told, I mean, man, I was just like, she was like, plantations shouldn't even be called plantations. They should be called, what did she say? They actually call them what do they call them, like torture labor camps.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they were. Mm-hmm. Like, and no one wants to do that. They don't want to hear it that way. They don't want, but at the same, but all that to say, there has to be a moving forward point.
Correct.
Because it's the thing. What if they give all, then what descendants of slaves reparations? They give us our 40 acres and a mule. They give us our things. But so when that argument is handled, so to speak, I guarantee you people aren't gonna be. They're gonna still talk about it. They're gonna still, well, but what if it's like, well, but now we gave you all the things. Now you have all the things that you wanted. I just think that we need to move forward as a people where we can make sure that stuff that doesn't repeat itself, or that we can go back and see what our, like, something that would be amazing is the government would help us figure out our history. Like that, I don't got to go to Ancestry and freaking pay, all this money or 23andMe and like, let's start there so I can find out where I'm from. Because I legit be like sad that I don't know where I come from.
That is very true. Because other races, ethnicities know their culture, and I'm like, I know my grandparents are from Mississippi or Texas, and that's the extent of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we all have that. We all got that branch that goes off into slavery. It's all slavery. It's like, what?
But nothing outside of that, yeah. And that's to share like a legacy with your kids because we don't know where we're from.
Yeah.
Have anything to be proud or like proud about. We don't know.
Yeah. It's hard, man. Wanting to go back to your point though too, it's just like we can't always. It's almost like they weaponize our.
Yes.
Almost like in a way that they weaponize our trauma.
Yes.
Of slavery to put us in a place to feel like we need a handout. Yep. Like we need their help. And I don't want to, it's like, I'll accept your help.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to need your help.
Correct.
Because the moment I need your help, I'll keep coming back to you.
Yep.
I'll keep coming back to you for it. I mean, let's be like, keep it one what I could say, like, let's keep it one undies. Like the little pandemic, like unemployment joint that they were freaking throwing and like, oh, here's the blah, blah, blah. Man, you get that junk for 2 years and that junk stop.
Yep.
And you're like, what else can I get from them for free?
Yep.
The system. And that system is not something that hit everyone until this pandemic, but that's what plagues every hood, every ghetto, every every person in Section 8, like they just become these people that are dependent on accepting it, but then it turns into a need. And that's where it's dangerous. So we gotta you got to set that boundary and be like, I will accept your help, but I will not. But I have a boundary in me that says, I'm not gonna need this though. And yeah. So
yeah, and I because I often relate that to like just physical things. Like I know a few years ago, a friend of mine noticed on some IG posts, my hair was thin in that top, and he's like, you need to use something like similar to Rogaine. So it's like you use it, but like you have to depend on that you have to constantly use that or else your hair is going to thin out and fall out again. Or even like recently, I'll just say within 2 years, I think I had high blood pressure coming in. And I just think I wasn't drinking enough water. I was eating a lot of instant lunch, like a lot of salt. And so that was the cause of it. But like they were trying to prescribe high blood pressure pills and things of that nature. And I'm like, what happens if I take it? Like, you have to consistently take this. You have to. So I'm like, I'm always hesitant about medication because of what you say. Like then, like my body doesn't naturally produce what it needs to produce. It's depending on this outside chemical to give me that ingredient that I basically replenishing in my own system. And that's the same thing to your point. Is like if we get heavily dependent on the government, we cannot break free. And we got the chills and everything. We don't get that hit. And so and like you said, at the same time, like, if you're gonna give it to me, I'm gonna take it. But that shouldn't be something like, oh, I need you. Like, when are you gonna give this to me? Like, people voted in certain personalities based off these promises. I'm gonna give you all these cookies, and then when it happens, oh, you did you realize they were just playing you? And then when it comes to re-election, oh, we're gonna do this again, and then we fall for the same trick
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you guys see where you're at? And they're still asleep, and this is how they function, and it's unfortunate at this point in time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna make a weird segue to things that can feel like trying to make things even. And we already mentioned about this, but man, Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah, but like going into that, like for those who don't know, I mean, I think everybody knows that the new Little Mermaid live action joint is gonna come out next year or whatever, and they released the trailer. And I knew 2 years ago that Haley, whatever her name is, Haley Berry or something. Is that her name? It's like a bootleg Halle Berry name, but Haley something. But that she was gonna be Ariel.
Mm-hmm.
And so but the outcry of this whole thing and people going crazy, the internet turning up, everybody upset, everybody's excited, everybody's upset, everybody's, you begin to realize how people are. And the thing is, I'm hyped. I'm hyped because my kid. I mean, I watched The Little Mermaid. I've seen that movie the most out of any Disney movie I've ever seen. So my kids watch the trailer and they're like, "Oh, that's cool!" Like, "Oh, that's so cool. She's black," and but people were all upset because it's messing with their nostalgia or whatever and all this junk. But going back to this thing, I was talking to my brother about this, and he said, "See, the thing about this, though." He goes, if they were really trying to be, about it, then the whole family would be black. I was like, "Oh."
So wait, Triton is white and Ariel is black?
Yeah, like he's white, and then they added some queen. So I don't know if it's Prince Eric's mom or somebody, but it's a black actress. So I'm guessing what they're doing is Ariel's gonna have a mom that's black, and then her dad's kind of like white, and then a bunch of the other mermaids are probably gonna be all these different things. And it's just like, look, yo, I need you to commit. Otherwise, it feels like it's pandering. I mean, if I'm wrong,
I even heard, I guess, like the China version, they like bleach her skin, like a fair complexion, so she's a lot lighter in their version. I don't know the accuracy of that, but I have a variety of opinions because I feel like you can't be stuck on one area because you brought up girls. So when I first saw that movie after having my daughter, I'm like, this storyline is horrible because I'm like, a half-naked girl washes up on the sea, and this grown man immediately wants to marry her, and I'm like, then I'm like, wait, what is my daughter taking in? Like, because that's a lot of the Disney movies is like, they need a hero to save like to save the girl. They're always the damsel in distress, and we need this knight in shining armor type of dude. And like he need to marry her within like it wasn't like a course, it was like 3 days or something. Like the storyline itself is like it's kind of suspect. And when you've seen some of those videos where they show like some of the drawings, and I've seen it like where the priest at the time he actually had an erection and stuff. I've seen some of those. Videos,
bro. We still have the original tape. It's on the original tape. But it was on the cover of the. It was. I mean,
but the original. The other. Go ahead. To your point about having girls. Or girls that look like them. I also know my daughter love like Elsa, love like what is this? Was it what's the movie? Snow. I can't even think of the
Uh,
Elsa and I can't.
Anna,
Yeah, well, that movie, Frozen, Frozen.
Frozen. Yeah,
She knows she loves to sing and stuff like that, but she loved like she loved the gowns as any other girl did. But like, there was one costume when it came in a white wig.
yeah,
I seen her confidence in herself like went up to here as a result of putting this white wig on and having this long flowing white hair.
yeah.
And to me, it did something to me because it's
Mhm.
like this is what she saw as what was the image of beauty,
Yeah.
and her hair didn't look like this. And
Hmm.
that's even some of the, like I mentioned earlier, like her getting teased sometimes, like, why does your hair look like this?
Yeah.
And not seeing that. So there does need to be some representation because I'm like there have been other movies where there are
Hmm.
darker skinned girls or girls with curly hairs, and she lights up when she
Yeah.
sees those images.
Yeah.
So that definitely needs to be done.
Yeah.
Um, and then my other point is just like I just hate, and it's been brought up by other people's, and I don't mind. Like I like Miles Morales, how they put a black person or
Yeah. Yeah.
Latina,
Or yeah. Hmm.
Latino in it. But sometimes I'm like, why don't we just create our own story too? Like, why does it have to be, everything have to be recycled? Just be
Hmm.
original about a storyline. So I
Yeah.
see all different angles, but like, I don't think, for instance, like, yeah, how people are going so hard, like it can't be black, or what. I'm like, but you don't have black kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have this pressure because the image of beauty is in your lane and it's
Yeah.
not in our household. That's not what is portrayed often.
Yeah.
And
I mean, one of the biggest Disney movies ever, and this is what, bro. And I mean, this is a whole nother conversation. Even go. I mean, not to get into this stuff, but like, cause like the Lion King, right? It's like, yeah, we can be animals. We can be animals. It can be all black voice actor animals, but it can't. But it can't. But heaven forbid it be, you know, actual. I mean, bro, like my brother made a point too, and I didn't realize this. He said when they did live action Aladdin, everybody was whatever their ethnicity was. They didn't change and have all these multi-ethnic like people in the thing. It's like, why didn't they do that to that culture?
Mhm.
You know, they left. I mean, but then people are, well, they left it. It's like, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it's just we'll see how it all plays. But I'm just like, I don't know, man. I mean, and I don't want to. And the thing is, we all. But the point that I think that we're making is that when you have black kids or you have kids that are biracial, or because I have my kids are biracial, like to see something that they can relate to, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You know, I mean, it just is. And um yeah, I mean, man, I was watching. Oh gosh, I was watching, and I don't know talk about this show, but I was watching. I don't know if you ever saw it, but I was watching Lovecraft Country,
What?
and it's called Lovecraft Country, and it was on HBO, and
Uh,
pretty much the storyline, really how it played out. It was like all kinds of stuff going on in the show, but
uh-huh.
I loved it because it was like an advent. It was almost like borderline Indiana Jones adventure, but with like black people. I was
Yeah.
like, and I was telling my wife, I said, I have never seen any adventure explorer movie that has had black people in it.
Uh-huh.
Like that weren't the guy that got killed or the native freaking guy with a bone in his nose, like trying to lead people. He was a freaking the guide or something, right? But it was the first thing and she was like, man, you really. I said because I loved Indiana Jones. And it was so crazy just to see another original, but this was an original story, like you're saying, that kind of touched in that space, you know, and touched on it, and it was so cool. Like it was so like, I don't know, it was a definite vibe. Like for me, where I was like, this is so cool because you just don't see Black people in caves trying to solve puzzles and, you know, doing this stuff. Like, so
what was the one the cowboy movie that came out with Idris Elba?
Dude, I still didn't watch it. I know. Something by the.
That was good. Yeah. So when you see your people, it does something to you, and like it's not saying like we don't despise other races and stuff, but we just feel good when we see content with our pigmentation on there.
Yep.
And it's not the same set of one person doing different role.
Yeah. So. Well, and that's the thing, and it's not what's it called? It's not but I think going back to the main thing, the reason I brought it up too is it was like, is that another thing that we're like, oh, we need you to just put us in this movie.
Yeah.
I just need you. It's like, no, I need you to make a new movie that has some bomb characters. I need you to make a new movie that has some bomb characters and stop building on the same past stories. Correct. I need you to make some new characters. You know why? Because when I take my kids to Disneyland, when I take my kids to Disneyland, there are no blackface characters. Excuse me. I mean, not blackface characters, but there are no. It's called
Tiana. You get Tiana.
Yeah, like they're called face characters that are the ones that are the actual people walking around, and except for the Frog Prince, Tiana, and she was the best actress ever out of any of them like that. My daughter encountered. I got video of her just stopping everything she did, and she was like, "Well, come on over here, darling. Well, let's go for a stroll." I was like, she is killing it right now. But that's the only thing. There isn't anything else. There isn't anything. There aren't any other like face characters like I mean, all the rest are like monkeys and lions. Let's just baboons, bro. Let's go. Like, come on, like it's that's what it is. I mean, am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, bro. It's like they are baboons, they're birds, they're crabs, they're freaking everything else, but they ain't just people. You know, like I can't go to Disneyland and audition for anything to be a face character realistically yet. You know, they did this new Lion King stage show now where they like tell the story of Simba like after or whatever it is, and that junk looks fire, but again, it's building off of the same thing, and again, it's still animals. Like, can we get some stuff that isn't freaking weird? Like, because the Frog Prince, that junk, napping and voodoo, and I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, I know.
Freaking Papa Ligba, I'm like, don't even go there with that stuff, man. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm on a tangent now, but
no, but that's a good point, and I think just the representation in general, because I don't, the kids don't have that many positive influences or things because like, and it's unfortunate for us. Like we had the Cosby Show, but now to see his state, we can't show those videos or they're not even available to show. But like that was the stuff, like the content we liked, and we had those positive influences to look up. And
dude, my kids love 90s sitcoms. So I showed them Sister, Family Matters. Haven't done the Cosby Show yet because I think you know, because they actually mess with all that stuff now you can't even see it. But I mean, they are all about it. And so now when they watch other shows, they're like,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, probably the newest best one is Abbott Elementary.
I just started watching that
Woo!
recently. Yeah, Sherry was watching it. She's like, "What is this?" Because it gives me that Office vibe. Because I love the
Yep.
Office.
Yep.
It's just with
It's the
black
best.
people. Yeah, because like we're talking about representation. So when my daughter sees like black kids and stuff, and she just happens to walk by, then she's just staring and watching because she gravitates to her own. It resonates with her.
Yeah, and it's not and it's not that we don't bring other people along, that we don't want other people to be in the picture, but it's just like being a minority is the very the very definition of being a minority is being the minimal represented person in the space. Like, so like I tell people, like, and I've told people before, I said, like, minorities, we don't fool ourselves into thinking that we're going to be the main thing. We just want you to show us that you see us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that you, and don't show me that you see me on Black freaking History Month or Martin Luther King's birthday or Kwanzaa or what. Like, no.
Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth. I'm like, bro, like I need you to see me on March 3rd. I don't even know what that is. like that's what I need. I need you to see me like when I walk over here to the store. I need you to see me like, man. It's just like, dude, like I had a thing happen to me. Oh my god, man, I'm just a tangent. I went to the Costco over here. And that tell you is they changed their I've been to Costco a billion times.
Oh, where they check your card now at the
they check your card at the self-checkout, which I'm fine. I'm like, yeah, whatever, but they checked my card and I was like, oh, that's a new policy, let me do my thing. And I just kind of went up forward and just waited. I just watched for 5 minutes, and the next 3 people they didn't check, and it was a vanilla lady and 2 Asian ladies, and they just kind of let them roll. And I'm just like, and I had to tell the manager, I was just like, look, like, if this is the policy, I'm cool, but enforce the policy all the way across the board.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to say, but you know what this looks like, right?
Correct.
And he hopped on it and did his thing or whatever. But the whole point is, I need you to see me in those things. I need you to don't pander, don't just like, whew, Lord. And then if I can get off of myself, please see my Latin brothers and sisters. Please see my Asian, brothers and sisters, and my Indian. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you lean too far, and it's just like then someone else is feeling left out, and that's the danger of all this stuff. So, woo!
Good stuff.
Sorry, I got all the things, huh?
I said my son would love that right there.
Oh, dude,
I can't wait till Mario Land opens up at Universal.
Bro, I did see that. I'm afraid of what it's gonna cost.
Well, because we bought the season passes and it was pricey. I think the fast pass or whatever, that was costly, but it was beneficial for sure. It was my first time doing it. When you all have to wait in line less than 3 minutes.
Oh man,
107 degrees outside. Yeah, maybe we'll save up again for this.
Yeah, well, my kids have never been up there, so. But it's so hard when you're exposed to Disney because we were in it, freaking did Disneyland. But that Mario Land, that might get me in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, serious. I was like, bro, I gotta at least take a look. Like, I gotta at least take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. Oh my goodness.
So this was a good first one out.
Yeah, I think so.
Some good topics.
My friend, she had a couple friends or a friend hop in for a second.
Yeah, I saw one of them, or whoever the one was, because I sent it to my esposa.
Yeah,
I don't know if she was looking at it or not.
yeah. That's one of the Jesus Cult people. Yeah.
I was about to see if I can do an outro. So yeah, we can add video clips in and out too.
Oh, cool.
So let me you want to do official exit so then we can talk.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on the next go round.
Yep.
This is
Peace.